You have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land?
It would be fine if they took it all.
Unsurprisingly, U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, making that statement that it would be fine for Israel to steal all that land in the Middle East has led to some rage among Middle Eastern countries that certainly knew about the Greater Israel Project, but for whatever reason pretend like they didn't know about it. So before I give you the backlash and how Huckabee has responded to it, Cenk, your 2 cents.
Yeah, look, guys, this is one of those stories that shows you who's actually in charge of our government. Because this guy's pretending to be our ambassador. As you're gonna see in the facts that Anna presents to you, 2 things have happened. Number 1, that is not our ambassador, that's the Israeli ambassador. You're gonna see it convincingly in this story. Number 2, it is causing tremendous problems for us, Americans, because he's doing their policy instead of our policy. So Anna, give him the facts.
So look, before we get to the blowback that Huckabee and the United States is experiencing as a result of Huckabee's statements, I want to show you one more clip from the exchange that Tucker Carlson had with Huckabee, because right after giving Israel carte blanche to basically take all this land in the Middle East, Huckabee seemed to realize, oh, I said the quiet part out loud and maybe I need to do a little bit of damage control. So he did attempt that immediately after the statements you just heard. So let's take a look at that.
You think it would be fine if the state of Israel took over all of Jordan?
They don't want to take it over. They're not asking to take it over.
But you're saying that the reason that Israel is legitimate, has this inherent right to exist, is because, in part because God gave it to his people. And I am going to the same Bible that you're referring to and noticing that that is a huge piece of land. So if God gave them that land, then they have a right to take it now by your definition, unless I'm missing something completely.
Well, I think you're missing something, because they're not asking to go back to take all of that, but they are asking to at least take the land that they now occupy, they now live in, they now own legitimately, and it is a safe haven for them.
But may I ask though, as because you're explaining what Christian Zionism is and your theological beliefs. And you think you just said it would be fine with you if the state of Israel took all of Jordan, all of Syria, all of Lebanon.
That's really not exactly what I'm trying to say.
I'm asking, is that what you said? I thought that's what you just said.
It was somewhat of a hyperbolic statement in that, if that's what you feel like that we're talking about, but it isn't.
On 2 occasions in that clip, you heard Mike Huckabee say they're not asking to take over that land. No, they're not asking, they're just doing it. They're doing it using our money. They're doing it using our soldiers who fight their wars in these Middle Eastern countries to essentially turn these Middle Eastern countries into failed states so they can take over. That's what's been happening in Syria. I mean, the US has been arming Al-Qaeda terrorists in Syria so Israel can have its way with that country after the toppling of Bashar al-Assad's regime, of course. And they want to do the same thing with Iran, with our money, with our soldiers. You guys get the point. But anyway, going back to the heart of this matter, Israel taking over the entire Middle East, that is what they're attempting to do. It's called the Greater Israel Project. There's no question about it. And despite Huckabee's attempt to run cover for Israel, the damage of his comments has been done, for whatever that means, right? Because you have all these various countries joining forces to put out a statement, a strongly worded letter, which they released on Sunday. And those nations include Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Bahrain, UAE, Qatar, Indonesia, Pakistan, Turkey, Syria, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, the Palestinian Authority, and several Arab governing bodies. Now, obviously, that's not fully a list of different countries. The Palestinian Authority is a governing body. But nonetheless, really you guys didn't know what Israel's game has been for decades? You're gonna pretend like you're surprised by this? This has been the whole game. So let's see, Jordan, you were helping Israel during the 12-day war. Did you ever think to maybe ask yourselves why Israel wants regime change in Iran? So look, Cenk, I get it. I get that all these various Middle Eastern countries, Arab majority countries, have turned into cucks for Israel, not the people. I love the people, I'm talking about their leadership. And it's because the US, especially in the case of like Egypt, we bribe the hell out of them to play nice with Israel. So it's not just the money that we give to Israel, it's all the money that we spend to either destroy these Middle Eastern countries on behalf of Israel or bribe these Middle Eastern countries to play nice with Israel.
Yeah, so there's two sets of countries within that group. There's Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UAE, among others that are like greatly controlled by Israel. I don't know what the percentage is, right? And it's not complete, it's not 100%, but it's nearly complete. The UAE has handed over their cybersecurity to Israel, so they're pretty much owned by Israel.
Good job.
Right? So now, why did they put out this statement anyway if some of these countries are totally in Israel's pocket? Because the number one thing that they're all worried about, the dictators in the Gulf, is their local population rising up. And the more Israel has this, like basically the metaphor here is Israel's like this 280-pound guy sitting on a 12-year-old boy and just pounding him in the face. And everybody's watching like, oh, right? And so their local population keeps saying, go help them, go help them. But the dictators don't want to help the Palestinians. They're getting money from the Israelis, they're making trade deals, they're doing this and that. And besides which, they're dictators, right? So the reason that those guys are now upset, the dictators are, is because now their populations are going to become uncontrollable. So now that Israel is going to push America into another war in the Middle East, picture this, it's midnight, you're in bed, shopping cart full on Shop TYT. But your wallet's on the other side of the room. Oh no, you don't want to get up, nobody wants to get up. Oh, then you see the purple Shop Pay button, which has your payment and shipping information saved and ready to go. The day is saved. That seamless checkout experience is all thanks to Shopify, which makes buying your next piece of TYT merch a breeze. Shopify is the platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Shopify gives you that leg up on the competition with hundreds of beautiful, ready-to-go templates to express your brand's unique style. Tackle all those essential tasks in one place, from inventory to payments to analytics, and expand your brand reach with built-in marketing and email tools. And I already mentioned that awesome purple Shop Pay button. It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. See fewer carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/TYT. Go to shopify.com/TYT. That's shopify.com/TYT. Now they're pulverizing the Palestinians, the Syrians, the Lebanese, and now the Persians. And they're all Muslims. At some point, the local Muslim population in these countries are going to explode. They're going to say, no, this humiliation, we can't bear it anymore.
Well, they're coming for your land.
Yeah,
and they're coming for your land. So whatever leadership you have right now, that's basically sitting by, they're sitting on their asses watching Israel just annihilate the Palestinian people. And maybe you were under the impression that Israel would stop there. No, they're not stopping there. They're coming for you.
Yeah, and guys, it's not an exaggeration. Israel's power is unreal. So Imran Khan arrested in Pakistan because of Israel. So they captured the Pakistani government. They're working with the Indian government. It is amazing the power they have throughout the world, and give them credit. The Mossad is brilliant. Strategically, they've been amazing, right? So, but at some point, you're gonna fly too close to the sun. You've pushed everyone into, and you just basically you're telling the entire Muslim population, I am superior to you. And I will take whatever land I need, I will kill whatever family members I need to, and there's nothing you could do about it. And I'm gonna humiliate you for the rest of your lives. So these dictators are playing with fire as they try to suppress their local population. And Anna's right. The second part of it is they're now beginning to go, oh, I thought they were just gonna do it to the Palestinians.
That's it. That's all they were gonna do. You know, we'll make we'll make a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
We'll do trade deals. Why not? Until they come for you. They will come for you. You know that Israel used to have diplomatic and trade relations with Iran.
Yeah.
They're gonna come for you.
Of course they are. And so now, for example, countries like Turkey go, wait, you're telling me that after Iran, we're next? Are you out of your mind? So they keep pushing and pushing. I mean, they'll push all the way to Greenland if you let them. It's insanity, right? So now though, again, these countries are beginning to realize, oh wait, I thought that they were greedy and they were businessmen and we could make a deal, but that was because Israel was always kind of seemed like they were going for greater Israel, but mainly had secular governments. But now the messianic folks have taken over Israel, right? So they are religiously want greater Israel, and they are never ever going to stop. And now their cabinet members are saying it, their government is saying it, Netanyahu has said it. They're going for greater Israel. So now it's beginning to dawn on the Saudis and the Jordanians and the Egyptians. Oh, they weren't exaggerating. They really are gonna come for us. Yeah, knuckleheads. That's why if we go into Iran, this war might be so much larger than people realize. Ironically, you might bring the Sunnis, the Saudis, the Jordanians, etc., to join forces with the Shia. Normally they'd be against them. That's Iran, some portions of Yemen, etc. But now that they see Israel doesn't care about Sunni or Shia, they're coming for you all. That might unite them. And then we're in the middle of the biggest war you've ever seen. Besides which, the Russians are saying they're going to help the Iranians if we go to war, and the Chinese are selling them weapons as we speak. So Israel is making us walk the plank against almost the entire world.
That's right.
And then when we turn to our government to go, wait a minute, hey, stand up for us. Our ambassador is the one saying Israel deserves all of the Middle East, and he's lighting our relationships in the Middle East on fire on behalf of who he really works for, which is Israel.
Yeah, in fact, Bezalel Smotrich, who's a terrorist, wrote this following Huckabee's statements. I love Huckabee. Gee, I wonder why. But just quickly going back to the statement that was put out by all of those countries and governing bodies, I want to give you a few excerpts of what they had to say. I mean, very strongly worded here. They called Huckabee's remarks dangerous and inflammatory and said they constitute a flagrant violation of the principles of international law. Let's all laugh at the notion that international law even means anything at this point, but I digress. Let's keep going. And the Charter of the United Nations, which Israel does not respect and would like to dismantle, and pose a grave threat to the security and stability of the region. On top of that joint statement, Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry described Huckabee's comments as extremist rhetoric and unacceptable, and called for the State Department to clarify its position on them. Well, Saudi Arabia has been enabling Israel even before the general public knew about it. They were doing so behind the scenes. Now it's out in the open. So Saudi Arabia enabling Israel comes with consequences. So congratulations, Saudi Arabia, you guys are doing great. And Egypt's foreign ministry called his comments a blatant violation of international law, adding that Israel has no sovereignty over the occupied Palestinian territory or other Arab lands. I would appreciate if Egypt stopped taking our money in order to essentially take the bribe to play nice with Israel and maybe defend your country. And the League of Arab States also said statements of this nature, extremist and lacking any sound basis, serve only to inflame sentiments and stir religious and national emotions. So that's what they had to say about it. Again, I fail to see how they're shocked or surprised by what Israel's real intentions are here. And now the US is trying to do a tiny bit of damage control. A spokesperson for the US Embassy said on Sunday that Huckabee's comments were taken out of context. I don't think that's really damage control. That's just insulting our intelligence. I watched the full conversation with Huckabee. It was not taken out of context. Huckabee has very little interest in what's best for the United States, has like a cult-like belief in his religion and is willing to do anything and everything for Israel, even if it means harming the United States in the meantime. And Huckabee himself wrote on X after that clip went viral, Tucker and I had a very twisty twisty and frankly confusing discussion about the meaning of Zionism. He started out the discussion on Zionism by saying he wanted to ask me in my capacity as a former Baptist minister about the theology of Christian Zionism, which is a disgrace, by the way. But he kept dragging it to discussions about other topics, literally other countries, things that have nothing to do with ideology. You are the US ambassador to Israel. Like, first of all, I don't care about your religion. I don't care about your religion at all. Your religion should not have any governing power at all, period. But on top of that, yeah, your opinions on what should happen in the Middle East as US ambassador to Israel are incredibly important here. So like playing dumb about this, like, oh, I thought we were gonna have a theological debate. No one gives a damn about your theological debate. It matters that your theology essentially sucks the life out of our country to build the empire of a foreign country. But other than that, why the hell is Christian Zionism the law of the land in the United States?
Yeah, so here are my last set of comments. So earlier in the show, we talked about who's a bigger threat to the Middle East, Iran or Israel. That's not close, obviously Israel. They've attacked 7 of their neighbors. Iran has attacked none of their neighbors. Now you could say, hey, well, through Hamas and Hezbollah, maybe you could say that they attacked Israel in some way. Okay, 1 to 7, still not close. And who's occupying more land? Not close. Iran's not occupying any land outside of their own. Israel's occupying land in 3-4 different countries. Then who's a bigger terrorist? Again, not close. If you say, well, Hamas funded by Iran partially, so October 7th counts, no problem. All of the terrorism of Hamas counts, okay, no problem. Israel has still killed 70 times the number of civilians at a bare minimum as Hamas, and has a worse civilian kill ratio. So that means empirically, they are the bigger terrorists. The people that are telling you that the Iranians are the bigger terrorists are lying to you on purpose to get you to go and say yes to this war. If you knew that Israel was 70 times the terrorist that Iran is, you might think, wait, are we invading the wrong country? Now, finally, who is a bigger danger to international law and the world working together? That's not remotely close. Obviously, Israel. They're saying that we shouldn't follow international law. They absolutely refuse to follow international law. They haven't signed on to any of the international law agreements Iran has. Iran actually says we will keep our nuclear program within the bounds of international law. Israel secretly built a nuke outside of international law by stealing our nuclear secrets. So, and then the United Nations, Iran doesn't attack the United Nations. Israel constantly attacks the United Nations. The world shouldn't work together. You should all be divided. You should only listen to us and no one else, okay? So now, guys, at this point, the American people are starting to wake up and go, wait, not only do I not think Iran is some sort of mortal enemy as I've been sold by American media and politicians, I'm beginning to think that Israel might not even be an ally, the amount of trouble that they're getting us into. And now I see both Biden and Trump seeming to work for a different country. Now I see our ambassador humiliating us, working for a different country. I see 94% of our Congress takes money from the Israeli lobby, and I see Fetterman and Graham, Democrat and Republican, clearly working for a different country. Wait a minute, are we even sure that Israel's not an enemy?
I know where I stand on that issue.
Are we sure about that? Because now the media, if you tell them that, they'll be outraged and they'll go to racial attacks.
Okay, go ahead. I don't care.
And so,
Israel is an enemy to the United States.
But they won't have they won't have any substance behind it. They just use catchphrases like special ally, Judeo-Christian heritage, the only democracy in the Middle East.
Show me how. How is Israel a special ally? What has Israel ever done for the United States? And if you come at me and say, oh, well, they share really important intelligence with the US, it's always inaccurate intelligence meant to goad the United States into fighting its wars for them. Israel is not an ally. Israel has only harmed the United States, driven us into massive amounts of debt, and I want nothing to do with them.
And I'll end on this. So they've taken at least $330 billion from us. None of these Iran hasn't taken a dime from us, let alone $330 billion. We're told by our media and our politicians we owe that to Israel. We don't have a choice. We'll all be called anti-Semites unless you hand over your wallet, right? And then on top of that, we did $8 trillion for the global war on terror, which was just a global war on Israel's enemies. You can check the list. They're all Israel's enemies. They all had nothing to do with us. Iraq not only didn't attack us on 9/11, they attacked Al-Qaeda, our enemy, right? We were lied to en masse to support Israel as if they're our ally, when it appears they've been taking advantage of us the entire time. And when the American people find out, like the Arab populations, the Muslim populations across the world we were talking about earlier in the story, now we're going to get restless and we're going to wonder if our leaders are actually representing us and we live in a democracy, or if they're representing a different country and we've been compromised.
Well, get on my level, because it's the latter, and it's about time that the American people realize that and take our country back, because we don't live in a sovereign country. We live in a country that is currently being controlled by a malicious, genocidal foreign regime, and that regime is Israel.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.